Welcome to my Battlefield stream. First, we're just going to actually look at some rules because we're still going to be waiting for the event to start. If you look at the timer in the bottom right there, once we get whitelisted in, which will be in about 5 minutes, we'll also take a look at the map as well. Obviously, there's going to be more teleports in the All-Stars battlefield, which we will actually go through in a moment. So, 300 people per side, per continent. We're in the second continent, so that's servers 129 to just infinite, really. The other continent has another 4 teams participating in it right now. Sorry, 4 battles, so 8 teams. So most rules are the same. As you see here, 25 people will be promoted to the semi-final from every single group. So the winning team will get top 15 promoted instantly, and the ones that reach top 10 in the group also, even if they're on the losing side, will also be promoted. So every single time there's a new battle, so semi-finals and the finals, groups are randomized again. These are not regular alliances like normal Battlefield. You actually see that they have random teams and they have a fake kind of alliance set up so they can chat in alliance chat. So you have Lion Team, as you see on screen there, and Eagle Team. I'm going to be following Lion Team, although I did get taken out of Battlefield. I will be put back in, so it may switch me back onto Eagle Team. I'm not sure, but either way I can look at reports of both sides, and we'll go through those as the battle rages on. Bearing in mind, in the bottom right, I will change the timer for the actual battle timer so it's easier to read because it's harder to see on the screen. That's all really for the special rules. If you don't know about Battlefield and you haven't played before, you can go into the event center and check out both types of Battlefield and see the rules on those by clicking the information icon like I did there. On the Battlefield schedule, we're covering Group A, I believe. Again, it may switch me onto a different one. I hope it doesn't. But as long as it's the same as I was on before, the highest player on the Eagle team here is going to be 3.1 billion. It's quite a different story on the other side with 1.9 billion, 1.5 billion, and so on. It's going to be interesting to see how they're able to overcome that and actually beat the 3.1 billion player. But you know, we'll have to wait until that timer goes down until we can see. In about 2 minutes or so, we should be able to see the battle, and maybe we can actually look at keep levels as well, which will shed some light on whether or not they're going to be able to beat this player. But to make up for that, if you actually look at the bottom of the team, their bottom level is about 50 million, whereas Lion Team, they do have that too, but they have much higher players here than the other team. And they do have more in the over 1 billion mark and here. So it's going to be an interesting battle to see how they do that. We'll see each team probably create a mini hive on the map, perhaps on the Battlefield Hospital and other key buildings. Now, if we actually just take a look at the other side, because I'm sure people will actually be a bit more interesting on this side, you're actually seeing people all the way up until 7 billion power. Even the bottom end of this is still very well within the realm of the billions. Just going to take a look at chat now. Alright, well, do feel free to ask questions about the game or about All-Star Battlefield in the chat throughout the stream. Feel free as well to give me any tips on how I'm maybe doing something right or wrong in terms of how I'm spectating, because that's all I'm going to be doing is spectating. Looking at some rewards as well, so the champion rewards here will depend on where you rank, which ones you will get, and you'll get all of them if you're, I think, number 1, maybe even number 5. So you got that there, the special city. You got the special march, the dragon egg, which a lot of people got this from the first All-Star Battlefield at the end of last year. So some people are a little bit angry about that, but it's a pretty good dragon. And then you got the Jupiter Eagle avatar frame. Actually, looking at the rewards, They're getting a lot of healing speeds, gold, a militarist general, which just means they have a military skill. So it's just good PvP generals, I assume. Resources and healing speeds. Just got a question here in chat. I'm just going to bring that up for a moment. I mean, you wouldn't want to be an individual in your own alliance to try to get up there. You're going to need a team of people, but I assume that it'll be easier to get into the top 300 players if you're in a little bit of a smaller alliance, but you're a very large player in that alliance. If you're able to be maybe the third alliance in your server, and yet you're the biggest player, that might help you get up there, but either way, you're going to need to know what you're doing with the game to place in that. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of spenders, and as you can actually see there was people that are only 50 million power that are in the top 300 that are going to be competing. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're actually going to beat some of the higher level people, because they might have been a little bit smarter to get there, whereas those large spenders, they just get there for free. So you can kind of see the rewards here. It goes down the same as other events would. I'm just going to check if I've actually been whitelisted in. I'll see what happens when I go on the map here. I'm not sure if it's going to... I might have to restart my game for a moment. Or there might be a button for me to click. Alright, I'm just going to turn off the blue stacks for a moment just so I can restart the game and see. Alright, yeah, so we got put in. I just had to restart the game. Lucky I did that early on rather than waiting. So let's actually see if everyone else has been teleported in or it's just the spectators. Alright, I don't seem to have anyone else in here, but you see my city's in the top there because I'm a spectator. Now, as you see here, you've got 80 teleports. Usually that's 40. That will increase. I think that goes back down to 40 and then increases back to 80 over time. So they'll get more teleports that way. For anyone that hasn't played Battlefield before or has forgotten, this is the map here. In the center, you're going to have the kind of throne type of building where you can take that. That's going to be a lot of points. The person in your alliance that takes the building first is going to get increased points and will get constant points as long as your team holds that without having to even reinforce it. Above that, the Battlefield Hospital. These are teleporters. They're all around, or portals, sorry. Crystal Mines, Blessing Towers, and the Knight's Hall. The Knight's Hall is going to basically send undead marches against people's cities. Crystal Mines are just simply for points in the battle. Portals are a crucial part of the game because if you lose all the portals and you run out of teleports, you're not going to be able to move around in the battlefield. You can still attack, you can still speed attack, you can still defend just the same, but it's going to make it harder to avoid big players. So we're going to have to see the Lion team actually take and keep these portals as much as possible, because that 3.1 billion player, they might want to start teleporting around and avoiding that player, but obviously you can ghost troops through setting 60-minute rallies to avoid him, but we'll see what their strategy is when they actually get into the battle. So looking at the scores here for each building, you're going to see 1 minute will give you 5 scores in the main building in the middle there. Crystal Mines, same time but for 1 score. Portals, there's 6 of them. You have to hold it for 3 minutes to get 1 teleport chance, but that obviously stacks depending on how many portals you hold, and you'll also get 1 score. Battlefield Hospital is going to increase healing speed by 60% for all players in the Alliance, and also 1 score. Blessing Towers, increasing attack and defense by 20%, again 1 score. Knight's Hall, they'll attack your opponent every 3 minutes, so it's kind of just like an undead march. And then obviously you have increasing scores depending on what troop you kill, what troop tier. Now, does anyone in the chat have any questions? Because there's a lot to go through. The battle's starting soon, so if you wanted to get any questions in, or if you wanted me to check out anything on this map or anything like that, do let me know in the chat. So the battle's starting in about 3 minutes and 20 seconds. If the person in the chat is asking what server I'm from server 193. And I've also got a question about being a spectator. Well, actually, I'll answer the other question first about the group. I'm spectating Group A in the preliminaries for the Continent 2, so servers 129 plus. To be a spectator, I saw a in-game mail from the developers that was linked to a Facebook post, which was then linked to a Google document where you could fill out a form to sign up to be a streamer for the event. They also subsequently had a recording event type of thing, like you get less rewards from just recording rather than recording and streaming, but so they had those 2 different things where you could just sign up, you could give them your account ID and things like that, as well as do a test stream and stuff like that, so they can make sure that you're going to be worthy of such privilege. And then they just set me up, give them my account ID, and they put me on the list, and now I'm in the spectator thing. All I had to do is restart my game once this timer was at 10 minutes, and then this map comes up instead when I go to the world map, but that means I can't actually go back to my normal server now. Got 1 minute left at the moment. Not experiencing any kind of lag or anything like that. I wouldn't expect it actually in the battle either. So you see the first players coming in, keep 33, 31. Some 35s here. They've all got wings. This is their biggest player here. Just going to take a quick look at the other side as well. So for anyone in Battlefield, I mean, you're going to start on this side and then the enemy or yourself might start on this side. So it's fairly even. You are seeing that the other side we were just looking at actually do have higher keeps mostly. These ones have a lot of 31s or even a 29 I think there. Unfortunately, because of the aspect ratio of the game itself, it's always in portrait mode like this. I can't really make it bigger. If I make it bigger, it'll just squash everything and make it really fat. I haven't purposely made the sides really big. This just has to kind of be like that. I could maybe make it a bit bigger, but I wouldn't be able to do that right now. It would take me too long to do it. It would just look weird. Battle will be starting any moment here. So I can actually see the alliance chat of this team as well. So we'll actually go through this. We'll go to the top and see if they said anything. I was just trying to see if I can actually post in their chats, surprising that I can. Again, for anyone just tuning in, do feel free in the live chat that we have there. I can see it. Ask questions. Give tips if I'm looking at the wrong thing. You want me to look at a different battle or look further into reports I'm looking at, anything like that. Leave it in the chat and I will see it. Just bear in mind there is a delay of like a minute or two perhaps. Now I do hope I'm looking at their chat that the opposite team, which is Eagle team, is not watching this stream and using it to cheat and look at their alliance chat, but I'm just interested in what they have to say, so that's why I'm looking at it. So the battle's starting. You see they're already setting rallies, hiding their troops. As you see, a number of them are grouping up in the Night Hall, and some others are going around to some other buildings. We're going to look at the Night Hall because I think they might be fighting another team over here, perhaps. Yes, you got an Eagle team here being killed. Actually take a look at scores, because people are actually ghosting their troops, hiding their troops, so to actually look at scores makes it a little easier to see who's winning. So actually Lion team is winning. Eagle team does have a much larger player, so this may change over the course of the battle, and we'll just have to see. At the moment, their largest player is not really ranking on the board, so I'm sure he will get some kills soon enough. Just to take a look at the map as it stands, we've got Eagle team on a bunch of different buildings here in the red, and in the blue we've got the Lion team. So a lot of Lion team are still over in the starting area for the time being. We'll just see what Eagle team is doing also. For the person in chat, this is Group A, yes. So there's Eagle team over here also. Seeing even more Lion team grouping up on this building. Just going to try and find out where Eagle team actually is. Eagle team have taken the center building. So again, as we scroll through here, you're seeing all these players hiding their troops in the millions. And that's certainly something to do if you haven't played Battlefield, to make sure you actually hide your troops through 60-minute rallies like this against another player or a enemy-owned building. You are seeing Lion team actually getting burned. I assume when I was not looking that they were actually teleporting in, hitting these players and then teleporting away, or speed hitting from across the map. And this is an excellent idea that Lion team is doing here, to sit all together, ghost your troops, and you're able to rally other people easier by being this close. You can also defend each other easier this way, as well as it makes it a little bit safer to be scouting all around the map and still be able to be defended also. I'll actually take a look at the Alliance chat, then I might be able to find out where they are. So the person asking in chat, this is Group A of the continent consisting of server 129 and onwards. So it seems as if Eagle Team actually is not grouping up too much at the moment. To the person in chat there, Jordan, do you mean just because there's so many troops in here? 16 million there. I think someone else here had about 30 million. Try to find that one again. Oh, we've got a defense lost here. We'll actually look at this one. So you see they're hiding their troops. They've only got 300k loss, 700k on the other side. These are the generals they're using if anyone wanted to use that for a reference for what you can get, although you can't get these two in the tavern. I'm actually surprised that those stats aren't higher, but they're not horrible for this continent at least. Got a lot more debuffs on this other team. We'll actually check out the sub-generals they have as well. Actually, let's look at what they're attacking with, just for reference for anyone that doesn't know how people might layer their armies. So you've got a very small amount of T13 ground, a ton of T13 ranged, only a little bit of mounted, and that just kind of follows through for a lot of things. They're layering in pretty much everything, a bit of everything, but only a very small amount, with a lot of ranged of their highest tier, a bit of T12, and that kind of follows through where they've got a lot of ranged, but not the other ones. And that's just because they've got a ranged kind of setup here. As you see, 915% attack on the ranged with a ranged general, and that's what we're going to be seeing throughout the battle, is people using largely one type of troop in their battles. So we'll just take a look at the scores again. It's actually pretty even. Again, we're not seeing Eagle Team with their largest player actually killing much at the moment. I'm not even sure if he's on here. Doesn't seem to be. So holding the Knights Hall here with Lion Team is actually going to break down the defenses a little bit. These are pretty large keeps, but it will break down the defenses of the Eagle Team, and that's going to really hurt them over time. That's why you've seen Lion Team go straight to this building and try to hold it, which they've successfully done for now. But we may see in the future Eagle Team actually try to take that back, because their traps and so on are going to start going down. Although traps are broken down in Battlefield anyway, so they might not have any. It will take some time until the battle kind of settles in, and you might start seeing some of these larger scale attacks and rallies. Until that starts to happen, there's no real reports I can share, because I can only rely on what Lion Team is sharing in their alliance chat and to look at the reports there. Unfortunately, as you see here, Eagle Team reinforcing each other, reinforcing the Battlefield Hospital. They're reinforcing the main building here, but Lion Team are still just concentrating on their Knights Hall. Just to look at the teleporters, you got Eagle Team holding 2 here, that one. So Lion Team only have 1 portal right now, but they are fighting over them. As you can see, it's not fully captured yet on any of these Eagle Team portals. Seeing this keep 35 here, attack this keep 30. Still very close in the scores. Eagle Team's burning over here. They're recalling their troops. We may see one of these larger keeps attack him again. I wasn't actually looking at that at the time, but someone pointed out in chat that yes, Eagle Team are out of teleports. They only have one left. But as I said, they do have a lot of the portals, so they will be getting some more teleports soon. But Eagle Team are taking them back. As you see, this one's been taken again. Yeah, I can go through the scores again. I'm not going to go any lower. Obviously these points are pretty damn low for some of these people. Over 100 is kind of what you're looking for at the minimum. Take a look at this report here. Again, ghosting their troops. Using a Minamoto, and on defense he's got a... well, I'm not going to say that name. Similar stats to what we saw before with the last report we took a look at, but this guy actually does have even higher ranged, so over 1,000, which is pretty good given that he is in servers 129 plus. And again, just like the last one we took a look at, they're sending layers of a fairly small amount of everything. All tiers, all troop types, but with majoritively ranged troops. He actually does have a fair bit of siege as well going with his march, but it is mostly ranged, and that's what you're going to see in these large scale attacks with very large keeps. You see this player 2.3 billion with a ranged general. So again, Eagle Team are still at 0, and Lion Team are taking back some of these portals. Got Eagle Team holding this one at the moment. But even Lion Team are down to 4 teleports. We are going to see the battle actually seize up for a little bit, even more so than it already has been. For those asking about other groups, I think there are actually more people streaming on Twitch than there are on YouTube. I assume if you just searched Evony on Twitch that you may find a few people that are streaming, but I have a feeling there might not be people streaming the newer continent, so 129 plus. I think they're mostly streaming the older continent. So they are picking up portals again, getting those teleport chances up with the Eagle team. You saw a speed attack on this player here, and he teleported out of the way. Now, judging by the Knights Hall and where those marches are going, which is going to be to all of the Eagle team players, some of those marches might be outdated where they've teleported out of the way, but it still seems as if Eagle team is actually not grouping up. I can't tell because I can only see Lion team on the map, and that's the only alliance chat I can see, but it's actually interesting to see Lion team doing what I've seen others do in All-Star Battlefield from last year, grouping up on a building. You see it on Portals, Night Hall, or the Battlefield Hospital, in the battles that I've seen at least. But Eagle teams actually opted to go out in groups to different buildings instead, and they've kind of got stuck there by using so many teleports to do that and keep teleporting around to other ones. You are seeing Lion team still edging out the other team in the battle at the moment. I think once we start to see both teams get a little bit more situated and a little bit more comfortable in the battlefield, size up the enemy, and you actually see, as I keep going through the alliance chat there, that the Lion team is sizing up Eagle team, scouting them, seeing what they have, seeing what generals they have. We might actually start to see in the next 30 minutes some rallies on Eagle team and vice versa. If anyone's wondering why his Mark's effect is so weird, it's just because he's been a part of Battlefield before. All Stars Battlefield, I mean. Well, I think that one is. There's different decorations you can have. So you see there, I mean, they're setting each other on fire, and a lot of people are still ghosting. The scores have gone up, but it's still the same gap in between Eagle Team and Lion Team at the moment. Again, teleports are at 0, so they are kind of forced into battle with each other over here. We may see a bigger hit soon enough. Again, as you're seeing here, for anyone that's watching that hasn't played too much, that isn't at the level of All Stars Battlefield, you see this guy's got a lot of tier 1 troops, and then he's layered on like 100,000 of every tier of all types, pretty much. Some he's only got 50,000, like the Siege, but he's got 100,000 of the others, all the way up until here, where in tier 11 he starts having a little bit more than that. A lot of cavalries and so on, just for killing bosses. So layering is always pretty good. It can save your higher level troops from dying, as well as it can start killing the enemy before they can kill those troops, because higher tiers are put in the hospital first. You see here, Lion Team is trying to suppress Eagle Team while they take the building. We still actually have people in the starting area there. We have this portal being taken by Eagle Team again, but he has been burned by a rally on his city. Again, only one teleport left on the Lion Team. Eagle Team are struggling. They don't have many of these portals. They might lose this one we're just looking at there. They've only just captured this one again. I think this may be the rally. Yep, this is the rally that we just witnessed just before. 78 million lost from this player alone, although there are a lot of wounded from the people that joined the rally as well, so they have lost more than this. But made him lose all of his troops, all wounded. He has no traps left, probably from playing Battlefield before. And this is the stat line up here, so you're actually seeing fairly low stats on this player, but the different stats of the different players that joined this rally would apply to their own troops. So as you see, they actually did a mounted rally against this player. I'll actually scroll down to his troops, the defender who lost everything. It is quite a ways down. So it says players very heavy in these troops, these D13s. It's actually not listed properly, so he actually is stacked in everything. He's actually not got just one troop type, so that's not why they did the mounted rally. They did the mounted rally to just brute force kill him, because they have so much in their reinforcements here. But I wouldn't actually be surprised if this is not even that far away from 1-to-1 ratio, given that all these troops died in the reinforcements tab there. Line team still holding strong with the Night Hall. Eagle team are picking up some ports, but they're not going to be able to use them to do too much. We're still seeing fighting going over on this portal with the Keep 35. He's clearly unfazed by them being there. He's been sitting there for a long time. He has had an opportunity to teleport away, but he's just stayed there consistently as burning people. He was holding the teleport for a while, the portal for a while. Lion team have taken it back again, but we'll probably see him going after it once again in a moment here. Connor, I thought that at first, but I think I either misread the report or, I think I misread the report. Where originally I thought it was all ground, and then I changed my mind, and then I probably misread it again, so you might be right that he used mainly mounted because he had more ground than other troops. There was so much information to go through there, and I didn't want to waste too much time on one report that I probably didn't read it correctly. So we're seeing Lion team get even more of an edge over the other team here as well. Teleports still at 0. I didn't actually read this before, but Lion Team actually does have 4 extra players where Eagle Team has simply not shown up. I do believe they do have 32 players also, they just have not joined the battle, or they have left since. One thing you probably are seeing with some of these players is that they're ghosting most of their troops. They are either holding some back or... Wait, what's going on here? We've got a battle going on. I think it may be a bit glitchy. Oh no, he did. No, yeah, he did get attacked. Yeah, so they're either hiding most of their troops and sending some to buildings that are empty and taking them, or will go into their city and train a few new troops, like 100, and then sending them to those empty buildings. So that's why you will see a lot of these buildings are going to be heavily reinforced. Some of these key ones, like this one, is probably reinforced quite a lot, or at least will be if it needs to be, because people can very easily steal it with just 100 troops. So that's something to keep in mind when you're playing your battlefield, that you can do that. You can ghost all your troops, go back in your city, train a few troops, and then just go around taking all the empty buildings, because people usually will take their troops out and then go ahead and teleport elsewhere. So it's a good thing you can do, especially if you have speed, like march speed ups. So you're seeing another reinforcement go in there for Lion Team. Actually another 2. Again, teleport still at 0. Lion Team must have taken this building when I wasn't looking, but Eagle Team have taken it back again, and they will occupy it in a few minutes here. So even more Lion Team have shown up to this portal to make sure that this keep 35 here, which is, I think that he's their biggest player. Let me just check. Yes, he was 3.1 billion before, he's only 2.5 now. Now he's going back. And he did take it again. I'm not sure if they had troops in there. They may have taken all their troops out and then he took it again. They're all playing games on this portal at the moment. We'll go over to another area. So Eagle Team are actually taking a bunch of buildings at the moment, and they have been holding these crystal mines for a lot of the game. Lion Team are more focusing on the middle area with a lot of their buildings, but they are not even really attempting to take this main building very much at the moment. I assume it's reinforced quite a bit. To the person asking the question in chat, yes, when you're in Battlefield, there's 2 types of Battlefield. There's one that looks like this, and there's one that's similar, mostly, but it has bosses in it that you can kill also for points. All of your troops, no matter what your hospital level is, no matter what your Holy Palace level is, they will all be wounded. They cannot die. Traps will die permanently, but troops, they will just go straight to the hospital, no matter what its normal capacity is, and then when you come out of the battle, they will be automatically, for free, all healed without you having to do anything. But you do have the opportunity while you're inside of the battle to actually heal them without spending resources. It will just be speed ups that you have to use, and that means people can technically spend as much money as they want to keep healing their troops and keep going back into battle, but obviously you can feed points to the other team by doing that, so people don't do that too much, but some players will, and you will see that happen in the finals as well, where people really want that border, march effect, city, dragon, and other rewards, as well as the fame of it as well. You will see people spending. So they actually did, while I was talking about a lot of nonsense, actually take the building line team. We may see them come back again, the eagle team. See if there's any new reports here. So we have another attack report here. This may be on... No, this is not a player. So this was an individual attack, so this is a one-to-one kind of comparison between this guy only losing 75 million, the other 110 million. Kind of a weird Washington defense general, but each to their own. Which is really pushing up their mounted stats, whereas the other players got ranged troop stats. There's a lot of mounted in their rally also. A lot of siege. I think they kind of got a mixed march going on there a little bit more than the other rallies that we've been looking at. Oh, sorry, attacks. This is not a rally. To a person in chat, where can I find Group D and B? I'm not sure who's streaming what battle, if they're in this continent or the other continent, because there's two, and there's going to be two final winners, two different teams. Best bet, just search up Evony All-Stars in YouTube. Maybe some other channels will come up, I'm not sure. Do check the groups that are available, both official and non-official, in Facebook. They might have some links there. And also search what I said about YouTube into Twitch as well, twitch.tv. There's people streaming there as well. But I think most people that are streaming are actually streaming a different continent. So that's another ghosted city. So you're seeing the difference here between lost power on both sides. Obviously, on the left here we have many more troops defending. On the right, only 700,000 attacking. I've at least found when you get survived like that, it can be an indicator of the fact that you maybe have sent too little troops, too little troop power, march power, not good enough general or something like that. That means that your troops survive throughout the battle. Only very little amount of them in this case, but you've actually not had enough troop attack there, just in general, as an overall amount between all of your troops to actually kill enough of their troops to even up this lost power. Although their stats are a little bit lower on some of these as well, but they do have high ranged. So we've got another attack report here. We'll take a look at this one. So this one's quite rough for the other person, 20 million versus 100 million. We will be probably seeing slightly larger ones in the semi-finals and the finals, which you can see on the left of my screen here. 5 AM server time today, Thursday and Saturday for the semis and finals. So you're seeing the Gustavus actually being used on attack. People use that on attack and defense. Li Jing, I don't really understand why people are using that, but I guess they can do what they want. Again, here, fair bit of range, fair bit of mounted. Again, mounted and ranged. So the person asking about BlueStacks, I am using BlueStacks right now to stream, and I've found it better just because it has a streaming mode that makes it much simpler, where I don't have to crop the window. It just looks like it does right now without me having to do anything. It makes it easier. But I have not used anything like this on a MacBook. I did not own one, so I couldn't really tell you on that, but I assume if it's supported on Mac that it probably works better than Nox, which I have not used recently, so maybe Nox is better now, but I would doubt it. So Lion Team's still holding the building in the middle here. I'll just call it throne for people. Even more of a gap opening up between Lion and Eagle Team. You are seeing fairly similar scores between some of the larger players. This is the largest player here, I believe. But he could be getting more score. He is kind of sitting in one area. Eagle Team with one teleport left. They're all running out of teleports. They're not really gaining them. Again, Eagle Team's largest player is still sitting over here by the portal. As you see, the Eagle Team up the top there, the Keep 35, did just get hit by another player, and then the Lion Team that's actually over here by the Battlefield Hospital, which is going to give you increased healing speed, also hit the other Eagle Team. Eagle Team have managed to keep this building for some time, but it looks like Lion Team may be taking it now. Especially when you're in a situation like this, there's no teammates around. You may see that happen a lot, where people will attack a building, take it, and take their troops back out. But you got to be careful when doing that. If you're using a lot of troops to take the building in the first place, you don't want people attacking you as you return your troops, and therefore it may be a good idea to be ready to ghost them again by setting a 60-minute rally against your enemies or an enemy building, which will hide the troops from your main city, which is what you're seeing a lot of people do. I can't quite remember, but I believe when you scout someone, you'll still see their troops, but when you attack them, they won't be there because they are ghosted. As you saw, this guy's attacking this guy here. He took the portal. Crazy Bird and the other one are attacking each other. They've set each other alight, which again, because they're ghosting, I assume, we kind of have to wait for battle reports to come in here to be shared for me to be able to look at them. So another ghosted one there. So as you see with the on-screen timer, either at the top or on the bottom right of my actual video, we have about an hour left. We haven't quite crossed the midway of the battle, but as time ticks down, we might start to see Eagle Team get a little bit more desperate to win. But as I went through, you may have not seen that part of the video, but I actually went through the rules before. You don't actually have to be on the winning team to go through to the next stage. With a normal battlefield, you know, you have to win as an alliance because you're in the same alliance on the same server. when it comes to All Stars Battlefield, everyone is randomly grouped into like a fake alliance. They can talk in their alliance chat, but they're not technically in the same alliance. They can be from all different servers, and they have to work together to defeat the enemy. And then, depending on their leaderboard ranking, in this leaderboard that we're looking at right now, even if they had lost, they can actually go through until the next stage. So for instance, AJ here, M59, Blood at the bottom there, and a few others will end up actually going through to the next stage, which will be the semi-finals, even though they are a little bit more likely to lose at this point, given the point difference here. To the person in chat there, who is the Eagle team's largest player, it was, I believe it was this player here that was 3.1 billion before the battle, but now is like 2.5 billion. I think he's over by the portal here, so I can actually go to his city. The wrong button there. Yeah, he's still 2.5 billion. He's been sitting over at that portal for some time now. He's either not lost any more power or has healed some. He was 3.1 billion, I believe it was, this player, and yeah, he's obviously been hit down by quite a bit. So since I last looked at the map here, Eagle team have taken back a few buildings. They've had a few buildings taken from them, and then they're getting them again. As you can see, they're a little bit grayed out because they're only just capturing them. Lion team have taken some of these crystal mines down here. Have yet to take anything over here. This has been owned by Eagle team mostly for quite some time. This portal keeps being a battle zone really between these two players, and Lion team do keep sending rallies over here against this player to try to keep this portal. As you see, again, this one hasn't been captured fully. Lion team, I believe they lost this building again, and then they've only recently just got it again, and they're reinforcing. I don't know why this player is reinforcing with a bar, but okay. Got another player on fire over here, and again, still got that night hall going out from Lion team. It's very unlikely that Eagle team are now going to win based on this. At the moment we have over 100 viewers. If any of those viewers that have not participated in chat had any questions, had any tips for me to take on board and to try to have a better stream here for you to be watching, feel free to ask down there. It doesn't have to be related to Evony, any questions you have, but it would be preferred if it was related to Evony. I do actually have my channel here with plenty of guides for Evony. I do have more coming on server versus server and Battlefield and stuff like that. I don't have those yet, but I do have others on general cultivation, recruitment, monsters, boss monsters, and so on. So if you are really new to the game and you need those, do check those out. There are some that might be useful anyway. There might be a couple of tips in there that maybe you've not seen before, so it's good to check those out. And I do have a website coming also in the future. It's only about half done at the moment, but once I get more content on there, I'll open it up and put it in the description of probably this video and other videos, so you could keep checking back to the description probably in a week's time or 2 weeks time, and that'll be up also. That's going to be better than any other guide website out there, and it will have integrated translations for other languages. So you see this player is using A bit of a mixed march, probably mostly ground, with this general here, which is a ground general, which is not available in the tavern, unfortunately. Now he's attacking him again with Electra. To the person in chat, this group is Group A, the preliminaries for server 129 plus, so the newer continent. Again, Group A. And on that note, I will be, obviously, as you can see on the left side of the screen, doing the semis and the finals for the same continent, so 129 plus servers. Same time, 5 AM server time on Thursday, on Saturday. And also you can go to the bottom left to check out my YouTube name, but you can also see that on the video as well, and subscribe. I do have plenty of guides. So you are seeing the portal amount for Eagle Team easing up. They are getting a little bit more leeway to teleport around, so you might see them pick up some more points, but they are actually at the moment losing by even more than when last we checked. That is a very long rally. 1,824 days. These troops are never coming back. So he's just been burned. I was just waiting before I actually set it because I want to actually make sure it goes on fire. But yeah, again, as you're seeing, a lot of these people are speed attacking. They're not wasting any time. They're not teleporting next to their target. They're not moving around. They're sticking together, line team. You're not really seeing that with Eagle Team. They're not really sticking together. They're ungrouping. As you can see with the Knights Hall here, all of these marches are going all different directions. They're grouping up a little bit on some buildings, but not really. but Line Team are grouped up here. Although as the battle has raged on and Line Team has increased their lead, they have actually spread out a little bit more, but they're actually mostly in this kind of semicircle area, and there's a few dotted around, but either way they are ghosting their troops. To the person asking, I didn't quite understand your question originally, but now I do. Who's the person you want me to show? If they're not on Line Team, it might be a little bit harder to find them, because I can only see Line Team on the map and click on them. I don't think there's a way to pick even a player on here and go to their city, unfortunately. I have to manually find it. But if you put their name down there, I can try to show them for a little while. There's only so much going on in the battle, it's relatively hard to actually see what's going on at any given time, unless I look at these reports. This is Group A. As you see, they just force ported that player from the portal. Just for a moment here, I'm wanting to check out what they're going to be doing with these rallies before I look at those players that people are asking for. Don't think that's a real rally. Yeah, I had assumed that the teams will be in other chats, which makes it a little harder to actually follow the battle. Just because, again, unless there's a developer that could help me out, actually find a way to look at reports without having to have them shared to me, but... Okay, so this is a rally that people are joining here. And they're speeding on this 2.5 billion player, the really big player. That went by so fast and kicked me off. I'm going to have to find it in here. So they did drop him by 400 million, it seems. Perhaps more if he had healed his troops. So they seem to have sent a mounted attack against this guy. Got a 3-to-1 ratio on him. This is a solo attack, it seems. So you got Petty and the Seabone here that people are asking for. I'll just keep that in mind. I'll try to find the other one so I can actually flick between them. I assume they must be in this group. So someone asked for Reaper and Anthony, I believe. Is that a nickname for someone? Because I don't actually see it there. Oh, okay, Reaper there. Alright. Oh, okay. 1 billion. That's rough. Obviously the report doesn't take into account the fact that there's reinforcements that died, so that's something to keep in mind. It's not that good, but I'm sure they had a positive there. These stats are just showing the person that shared it. So a lot of ranged. What tier was that? Tier 14. Not actually much layers in there. It was mostly just siege mounted. Sorry, siege ranged. And that's just going to be the same with everyone there. On this particular rally, they've opted for mostly ranged, a bit of siege. Going in with some others, killing 9 million troops. Let's take a look at another one. So this is the same guy. Lost over 200 million there. Probably a mounted rally. So essentially, take a quick look at the scores again. So it is actually the same gap. Even with those very large rallies, the gap hasn't actually widened, which may be due to buildings. Probably not, although they do own, Eagle Team own the middle there. They own a Blessing Tower here, a bunch of crystal mines. They're getting some portals. Due to the time, they've actually got additional ports. That's not from portals, they just got that added in. So you are going to see the teams re-energized and teleporting around a little bit more. But with 50 minutes left, it's fairly unlikely that you're going to see the other team, Eagle Team, winning. So this is just a solo attack again, 25 million to 100. A lot of siege, fair bit of ground, fair bit of ranged. Sorry for that music, I was just testing something. Now I know this is a very long stream, a very long battle. At times there's a fair bit going on, at times there's almost nothing going on. It is a little hard for me to actually see what battles are going on at what time, because there's so many rallies going on where people are hiding their troops in them, and I have to rely on battle reports being shared in Alliance chat to actually see them. I can only see one team as well, so it makes it a little bit harder, but I do thank everyone for actually sticking with the stream and watching. And again, because there's actually a little bit more gaps in it than I had thought, do feel free to ask any questions in the comments as well, the live comments. I can see them all. Well, I'll give it a try what that guy said about using the music. This is just non-copyrighted music that is inside of my streaming app, so it's not like it's the best stuff, and it's just on a radio, so some might be better than others, even to me, and I'm sure to the viewers as well. If anyone doesn't like it, do let me know, because I'm sure some people might want to actually hear the commentary and they might not like the music, so do let me know and I might turn it off depending on how many people like or don't like it. We'll actually change the station briefly to see what these songs are like. Samtok, I don't know if that's what you mean, sharing this leaderboard, but I can run through this for players that want to take a look at how many points each player's got. So that's the bottom of the leaderboard. Take it back up to the top. So Lion team, top 2 positions. 3rd and 4th, Eagle team, next 3 positions, a Lion. And there are a lot of Eagle team up there, so we will actually see at the end of the battle, Eagle team aren't actually doing too bad on an individual basis. and some of those players will actually advance to the semi-finals and could actually be matchmaked onto the exact same team as Lion Team for the next battle, because it is randomly matched each time. And again, looking at the overall scores, I just want to refresh the page just in case. Almost 31,000, actually no, 32,000 almost for Lion Team, and they are pulling away from Eagle Team even more, that are on 26,000. Another big hit from Petty onto Adjudicator, wounding his 9 million troops. As you're seeing, pretty much all of his stats are higher than the person that he decimated, with much higher debuffs as well, which is going to be research based. And for anyone that doesn't know, using generals that say reduce on their default skill book, historic ones, those are going to work as debuffs as well if you bring them along to the battle as mayors of subordinate cities. Although you're probably going to get a little bit more from research and the fact that you can have debuff gear on a sub-general, and that will work for your main city troops as well, which is what a lot of people do, but that's very high level gear and it will take a little while to get. So as you see on the map right now, many more buildings are owned by Lion Team again right now. They're not really fighting back at the moment, Eagle Team. They've only got a few buildings and it's just the crystal mines. They don't have the increased healing speed, they don't have the increased stats from the blessing towers. They're not getting additional teleports from the portal buildings. They're really running down. They're on 9 teleports at the moment. Lion Team have 31. Eagle Team have had, actually, since I last checked, which was a while ago, had more teammates actually join the battle. They were late, probably by at least 40 minutes, if not maybe even well, much more than that. I don't have the timer up right now, an hour and a half. Sandtop, do you mean every single player? Because I did just do that before. I don't want to scroll through the entire list again. I'm fine showing the leaderboard much more than I already have been, but... sorry about the bot removing your messages. I don't know if I've set it up wrong. I assume you didn't send that many symbols, but I can't really change the settings during the stream. Yeah, I've got Eagle Team taking back this portal over here, trying to get their teleport chances up. Also this one over here, again, they've been fighting over this one for some time. They've all teleported in on this one and are trying to hold it. Weirdly, this guy's sending a bye-bye. I don't know why I'm seeing so many of that. So many people do that. So you see there another big attack on the Eagle team Adjudicator, just making sure that he's not healing his troops if they're unhidden. So the person just got their message deleted again. I think if you send like more than 5 caps lock letters, it will remove your message, so that's why that's happened. Just don't do that. Is nuts on the Eagle team. The only way for me to check that is if I go in my city, I believe, and actually go to the All-Star Battlefield, go to the list. Well, actually no, it'll be easy if I go to Battlefield Schedule, Group A, Eagle team. So these are their powers right now. So this guy was originally 3.1 billion, but he's been knocked down a whole billion. I think this player was a little bit higher, maybe 200 million. They did, I think, have one more above a billion. They must have been knocked down too. Lion team, he's actually gone up in power somehow, but this one's probably been knocked down 300 million. There was another one at like 1.1 billion. So they have been knocked down on both sides really. But I will look for that player that someone asked for. The closest person to that is the Acorn. They're not. I don't think I see the player that you're talking about. It might be a different group. Just while we're here as well, I will go very quickly through the rewards again for anyone that doesn't know. So you get the egg, the Ladon egg, for the special blue dragon there, an avatar frame which you can use in chat, a march effect, the castle that you see here as well. Depending on your ranking, you'll get 1 or more of those. So number 1 obviously gets all 4, so does number 2 to 5. And they get all these different rewards, and I won't go through these because the battle's going on, but just so everyone knows, those are the kind of rewards that people are getting. Lion team still holding the middle building. Eagle team are making a push for all of these portals. You see they're all owned by Eagle now, or at least most of them. We've still got the blue one here owned, where Lion team have kind of grouped up on this portal and the Night Hall still. So you got this Keep 35 sitting up here, might be looking to attack some people that are at the Night Hall. Got about 30 minutes left on the battle at the moment. To look at the score again, almost 33,000 for Lion team. Eagle team's still sitting at the same amount as they were before, pretty much, 26,000. So another large hit again here. A 1:6 ratio or something. Similar power levels, but still getting a very large hit on them. This was because it was in a portal building, so they were reinforcing it with less troops than what this guy could send, so that obviously didn't help. As well as he was, given the general here, he probably had mounted troops, and then he was attacked with ranged troops. So that's something to keep an eye out for. People do like to use majoritively mounted or ground or ranged attack, maybe with some siege in there depending on the troop type. People do mix ones, but not usually. So when you're reinforcing or when you have troops in your city, you need to be aware of your weaknesses and aware of the fact that you may be very quickly attacked and decimated if you aren't hiding your troops through 60-minute rallies against enemy players or buildings. which will hide your troops from your city. A lot of people on these newer servers, which this is what this continent is, that this battle is in, servers 129 plus, they're a little bit more likely to be heavy on cavalry, unless they are a big spender where they can kind of do both. So actually trying to build those ranged to counteract that is always good, or ground even. That was an interesting way that you got around the Streamlabs bot by putting an X in between all of your caps, but okay. I don't know, unless you did that, unless that's literally someone's name. I don't know what you mean by that, so you're probably incorrect with that, because I don't know what you mean. If you mean that I'm another player, no, I've only got this name. See, big rally on this player here. Probably going to see them go on fire soon. Yep, there you go, they're on fire. They got so many people attacking them in the one rally that they glitched out, and it took a while for some of them to actually start returning, which is kind of funny. About Siege gets no love. I mean, people ignore Siege. Siege is very good on attack, on defense, if you use it right. A number of the defensive generals that people tell you to use will boost Siege stats, so it's obviously a worthwhile thing, but a lot of people do ignore it. Now looking at buildings again, still got some portals being picked up by Lion Team, but Eagle Team still does have some. They might be attacking one here given how slow that march is, but I'm not sure what's going on there. Lion Team's only recently got this one. Eagle Team is there, they may take that back again. Eagle Team is at 0 teleports. Lion Team has a lot more of them. And I think that's because Eagle Team are actually not speed marching around to different buildings as much as Lion Team are, which is kind of odd given they have some very big spenders in their team. And again, you know, this battle started out with a 3.1 billion player on one team, and the other team only had a 1.8 billion as their highest player. So it's actually very interesting to see Lion Team with a different strategy and to actually win against that player, to rally them, and you know, just work as a team much better. They've been grouping up around this Knight's Hall quite a bit. Also, this portal over here is where a lot of their ralliers are sitting and joining each other. This is the largest player of the other team that's been knocked down, about 1 billion power overall. He doesn't seem to be bothering anymore because he knows that he's actually going to get through to the next stage. He doesn't need to continue to fight. And you may see that with a lot of Eagle Team, where they're not playing as a team on purpose, because they only have to be in like the top 10 to be in the semi-finals. They don't have to win the battle, they just need to be at the top of the leaderboard, which some of these players are. So a lot of them may just sit out now, and you might start seeing the amount of battles actually go down until the final minute. I guess this is not what you meant when you said hello YouTube corrupt, but you know, you just lost some troops there. I assume that was T1 or something, or mostly. Yeah, mostly just T1, T2. Stuff that he couldn't put in a rally, he just got that killed. But it was very little amount of power. that is an interesting report. Again, for anyone that hasn't heard me say it already, that's not the real lost power of that team, that's just showing that player how much they lost, and there's our reinforcement amounts here in the attack, so in the rally. So they did lose more power than this. You would have to work it out manually, which I'm not going to do, but still that's a very large hit that they got on this player, killing 52 million troops. As you saw in chat, they were calling it an idiotic defense. That is why that general they have on is used for getting your upkeep down and getting your resources production up, which should only be used when you're on your own server bubbling. You shouldn't be using it as a defense general, especially at that power level. It's just ridiculous. And they actually still had fairly good stats even without a proper general on there. I will scroll down to see, actually no, I can look up here if they had any reinforcements. Yeah, so it's even worse. They didn't even have any reinforcements in their city and they had that general on. This makes it 10 times worse. So this is the same attack, but just from someone else's view. They only lost 4 million on this one. So some of these people actually do have fairly low debuffs on them, which is kind of surprising. We might be having a scout coming in here on the main building. From Eagle team, you're having some portals picked up again by Lion team. There's only one now owned by Eagle team. Lion team might be coming for this one soon. They seem to be scouting it for the time being. I think Eagle team do keep concentrating on the crystal mines for some reason. I don't really see why they're bothering. They really need to be getting these teleporters and other buildings. Again, like I said though, some of these larger players might have just given up and don't care anymore because they know they're going to go through to the next stage, and their teammates won't. And because they're not actually in the same alliance, in the same server, they're actually just random people that have been put together, they may not actually care about anyone there. You never know. Just saw that taken, and now they might be speed attacking this again, but he did recall his troops, I believe. See if we can figure out where that came from. I'm not sure. So even more buildings picked up by them. Eagle team were taking that back. They might get this portal taken soon. Yeah, it's being taken right now. I assume what happened there is he attacked it and then some of his troops survived, but he didn't actually kill whatever's reinforcing it. That may get rallied potentially. A weird Quinn Jindiok going there, that might be for points. It might just be one troop. Which again, for anyone watching, when you're doing your own battlefield, obviously it's not going to be all stars. You can actually, especially when you start to win the battle, which, you know, Lion team more or less have. Let's just take a quick look here. See the gaps are widening. It probably way over 10,000 by the end of the battle. Once you kind of won the battle, you've killed a lot of the enemy, either you have or your teammates have, you can send out a bunch of reinforcements to different buildings to get points. Bearing in mind you still want to be ghosting your troops, you don't want to become complacent, so you maybe want to use a couple to ghost your troops at least. And if you do have any spare after doing that, to actually reinforce those buildings, which will get you additional points. It's not going to be too many, it might only be 100 points over the course of the last hour or something, but it does add up, especially if you're the person that first takes the building. If you wanted to be a little bit more greedy in the battle, you can do that. As soon as the battle starts, you can go ahead and just capture a bunch of buildings and speed attack it or teleport next to them. If your team holds them and you're the one that captured it the first time, you'll get points without even having to reinforce it. I mean, I didn't do it on purpose, but the last battlefield that I was in, I I would reinforce like the main building and other things and took it from the enemies right off the bat, and it ended up me getting at least like 1,500 points. I didn't even kill much troops, I just left that to other people. So Lion team fighting over this portal again, Eagle team do keep going after it. That is a part of the problem with Battlefield, is people can ghost their troops, they can unghost them, take back a portal, for instance, like this player might be doing, and then recalling them, ghosting them again, over and over and over, and it's a little bit of chicken that you might be playing with these players doing that. The only real way to make it a little harder for them is to purposely continue to attack them until you force port them away into a random location on the map, and it will make it much harder for them and cost more resources and items to actually keep taking the building back, especially when they run out of teleports, which Eagle team more or less have. Once you start force porting them, it makes it harder. You might not see a Lion team do that because it is a little risky, and it does unnecessarily use up your items when you don't need to, because they're kind of already won at this point. Any reports of Seabone's rallies? I mean, direct from Seabone, I mean, I'm not sure, I'm not sure about that, but I think Seabone was a part of this one, which is, I think, the second biggest that they've done. I mean, Corrupt's in there, Moist Cat's in there, Shoyo or something. Yeah, so Seabone's in this one, sending a lot of mounted. Siege's getting a lot of kills there. More mounted. It's mostly a mounted rally they've got there. And this resulted in a 700 million kill because of this stupid general they had on there for some reason. So because we have a little bit of an impatient boy in the chat, we're going to go through the leaderboard again. I mean, I assume it's not really changed too much since I last looked, other than maybe places 15 to 10. Whereas some Eagle have been knocked down a little bit. To the person asking in chat why I only show one server, well, the developers have only given me access and have only placed me into randomly, or maybe specifically chosen for me to be in this battlefield. I can't view other battlefields. There's no way for me to click on other battlefields. There are other streamers in other battles at the moment streaming it. There are people that are recording it also, so you can watch them on YouTube, on twitch.tv as well, and you can kind of see other battles. But I'm not sure if every single battle that's going on right now, which I think is like 8 or something like that, I'm not sure if you can see all of them right now. I don't know if they're all being streamed or not. Okay, that one glitched out. So you had to keep 33. Eagle teams hit train here. Seems like we still have this insane rally. I might have to report this guy. The Eagle team are picking up a few more teleports. They've saved them up from their portals, but now they've forfeited all buildings to Lion team, and it's pretty much over now. They're still not quite hitting the 10,000 mark. Lion team's points over Eagle team, but it may get there by the end of the battle. We're not really seeing too many reports now. I assume that a lot of these rallies that they're doing maybe are hitting into a very low amount of troops. We're not seeing too many points change on the leaderboards at the moment. And like I've said before, for anyone that didn't hear it or has only just started tuning in, is you don't have to win the battle to go to the semi-finals, which will be on Thursday, same time. So 5 AM server time until 7 AM, or GMT time. Which you can see on the left of the screen there. You don't have to win, you just have to be at the top of the leaderboard. So there will be a lot of people that have just given up at this point because they know they're going to go through. They don't have to waste resources, they don't have to wait, well, sorry, they don't have to waste speeds and so on to get their troops back. So Eagle team's taken back the battlefield hospital for the time being. We're seeing a very quick attack from Lion team. I have to follow this line back to see who it was. So I think it says Slick. Yep, Slick. To Caleb in the chat, how did he do that? What exactly do you mean? You have to remember there is a delay on the stream, so when you say that, I don't know exactly what you mean. Unless you're talking to someone else in chat, I can't really tell. So we do have another portal taken by Eagle team. Eagle team are got a couple players around this blessing tower. Seabone is owning it right now. So these guys had a couple attacks going out that's coming back at the moment. This is kind of where they're setting their rallies from. A number of the bigger players are over here, joining each other, doing a lot of mounted rallies. Archers as well though. So you're seeing a Martinez coming back from attacking the enemies. And as you see, I mean, a lot of teleports have been used. They haven't been force ported too much, but a lot of teleports have been used by Eagle team. They're still very spread out. Whereas there's a few pockets of Lion Team, they did group up at the beginning of the battle, if you didn't see, at the Night Hall, and then they've now moved to that portal to the left of that a little bit. Some of their bigger players, because the Eagle Team's largest player has been there the entire time. He's never really moved, he's still there right now. Eagle Team focused on I think the Battlefield Hospital and the main building in the middle, as well as a few other buildings, but they didn't really group up, and so that kind of hurt them a little bit in their ability to set rallies and so on. We haven't really seen rallies come from Eagle Team attacking Lion Team. It's been mostly solo attacks, whereas a lot of the big reports that have been getting their points up for Lion Team have been rallies. So do keep those types of things in mind for when you do your battles. It will depend. If you're in a very low power kind of server, you might not actually see that working for you, grouping up in one area using all your teleports as well, because in All Stars Battlefield, if everyone uses a teleport at the start, it doesn't matter as much because you have more teleports per team, whereas in the normal one you will not. So you do have to be careful teleporting around too much in that, and grouping up might not be worthwhile if the other team has a very big player that can kill you very easily, especially if you have players under 100 million power and they're like 500 million. Now, for anyone that's tuned in late, there will be this video going up in its entirety to YouTube, where you can scroll through, you can watch at any point you want, you can pause it on battle reports and so on, and have a look. If you do have any tips or anything like that for me in terms of how I can stream for the events on Thursday and Saturday, do feel free to let me know in the chat now and in the comments that are not live, like when this video goes up, or even any other videos you wanted to look at, because I do EvonyGuides, which you can check out on my channel. Just let me know and I'll try to include those suggestions in my future videos on Thursday and on Saturday to give you a bit of a better experience, because I know sometimes I'm looking at all the various different buildings, sometimes I'm missing things, sometimes there's battle reports that I'm looking at too long or not long enough, so do feel free to let me know about those things, including right now. So there's about 10 minutes left on the battle, and if there's anything you wanted me to look at before the battle ends, do it now, because when the battle ends I assume I'm going to be instantly taken out of the battle. I won't be able to see anything anymore. So Eagle Team have taken back another crystal mine, it seems, and they're being attacked by a turtle, which, for anyone that doesn't know, that person has a turtle as a march effect, most likely because they are in a losing server of server versus server. This blessing tower was taken while we're looking at the leaderboard by one of these players. That's mostly happening because people aren't really reinforcing these, they're taking them and then taking their troops back out, so it does make it easy for people to play games and keep taking these buildings, and then the other team takes it and so on. You see Lion Team teleporting in here, scouting it, just making sure that there's no troops in there, or he can take whatever is in there. Now he's attacking with his march. That's a preset which you can set in your rally spot if you haven't yet. And now Lion Team has taken this building. It's very unlikely Eagle Team are going to attack him at this point. Seeing Seabone come up quite a bit. Petty's actually gone over the mark and is in first place. These other two are going down in the rankings a little bit. But again, as I keep saying, a lot of these players actually will end up in the semis as well. Lion Team's coming in and hitting some of these players. You've got Reaper here. Most likely just force ported him because his walls went down to 0. So again, 0 teleports on Eagle Team. Lion Team have been teleporting around, trying to clean up on these enemies, trying to force port them, trying to get these buildings back that Eagle Team keep speed hitting, and they've actually run down to 5, which they were on 27 before, so they've been using a lot. Lion Team have been moving around. yeah, with the turtles, I don't like them either. Right now on my server I have them, unfortunately, so it's not always fun. So this crystal mine up here has been taken, but there are a lion team there, they'll probably take that one back. We've only got 7 minutes on the battle left at the moment. Lion team are inching towards that 10,000 point lead. Just so everyone's aware, when we actually get to the point where the battle ends, I did want to go through those rules in terms of who actually goes through. So there's 2 continents, so that's server 128 and below, and then 129 and above. So we're streaming group A of 129 and above, so the second continent. So as long as you reach the top 300 rank in just regular, I can't say that word so I won't, but the Ultimate War season, which obviously just ended prior to this event starting. Regular map, mostly the same rules. There will be increased teleports. There will be 3 events, so this one, semi-finals on Thursday, and on Saturday we'll have the finals. For each continent there will be a different winner, so there's 2 winners overall. I don't believe they fight against each other, it wouldn't really be fair. So there's 4 groups, so we're group A. Divided into 2 teams randomly, and that I think that happens for the semis and the finals, so they'll never be the same team, they'll keep getting mixed up. "25 monarchs will be promoted to the semi-final from each group, which will mean 25 per team. So the winning team will get 15, their top 15 people in the leaderboard will get to go through, and then remaining monarchs that are top 10 will get promoted, so if they're on the winning team or the losing team. So there's not actually a huge benefit for those larger players on Eagle team to keep fighting, because they actually will be eligible to go through to the semis. Actually quite a few of them will be, but it will be mostly Lion team. But that's why it's a little bit more of a participation reward you get from being one of those lower power players that are in the battle, because you're not going to get the scores to go through to the next stage, because there are like 32 people per team at the moment. It's funny. And that's something to remember. You're actually getting Lion teams celebrating the fact that they've won in the chat, as you may have read there if you were looking at the screen. They've got a ton more points than the other team, but they're still ghosting their troops. And that's one thing that I've experienced in Battlefield as well, where my teammates have just been like, oh okay, we're going to win, we've destroyed the enemy team, and then all of a sudden, last 3 minutes, someone just speed attacks one of the players that's in a building, sitting there with a ton of troops with terrible stats or a terrible general, or whatever it is, and they die. Now, it doesn't matter because they're going to get their troops back, but they're not going to get their traps back, and they've just given points to the enemy team, which obviously you don't want to do, because you don't want them to get as many rewards as you in the first place, but it can mean it's a little easier for the enemy team to win. As you're actually seeing here with the largest player, I'm pretty sure he was below C-Bone before and he's come up, he's actually attacked someone. They probably weren't imagining him to do that, so he's got a few more points from attacking someone. I'll just go through like the top 25 here for anyone that wants to look, or maybe even 35. So a lot of the Eagle team are back here. They do have points. There are a number of Lion teammates down here as well. It's not like they're all getting points. So you see this player probably just burn these two. So yeah, he's been hitting Corrupt. He hit Shoyo before as well. But you're actually seeing just Lion team dominate. They don't have nearly as many defense reports in here as they do attack. Now I think for the end of the battle there's only a minute left. We'll just stay here and we'll see if this guy actually tries to attack anyone at the end. Just take a quick look at the chat, see if they're doing anything with this rally. They're actually rallying they're actually rallying him right now, so I'll actually go back to the main view and we'll just watch them attack him for the last 30 seconds here. So that was a speed reinforcement to that guy, to his rally. Gonna be hitting him any second now. Probably within the next... Okay, here we go. Here's the attack here. So it was about 1.7 billion. We'll just check. 1.7 billion. We'll just check how much after, because we might not get the report shared in the chat, unfortunately. Oh, okay. Well, that went by pretty quickly. So it looks like we have Lion team winning. So I'll just switch this over on my thing here. There we go. So Lion team win, 39,000 points to 29,500 on the Eagle team. And you know, we're going to see this Eagle team player here, so their largest player their largest power player going into the next stage. AJ, probably Adjudicator, a number of these other ones, as well as a bunch of Lion team, all of these kind of ones here. We'll just go back actually through the entire leaderboard as well, for anyone that wants to look at it. Now, surprising, there were actually quite a lot of players that more or less didn't really participate. Anything lower than 100 points especially, but even in All-Stars, having lower than a few hundred is kind of pretty low. And you are seeing both teams actually down there. So it's going to be interesting, because Lion team can actually pair it with some of the Eagle team players in the next fight, in the semi-finals. So it's going to be hosted on this channel, and other battles will be hosted on other channels as well, on Thursday, on Saturday, same time. So I'm not sure if there's going to be any kind of list for me to look at in terms of trying to see who exactly went through. It may be the case if I click on the building, I might be able to see that, so we'll just check out that in a moment here. I don't know why the event center came up. So these haven't been decided yet. I guess it might have to be a manual thing by Top Games to actually go in there and change who is eligible, but I'm sure I'll be ending the stream soon, but I'm sure you could go in here and check out on the semi-final icon in the same building I just clicked on, which people from that match were actually going through to the semi-final, and then obviously the final as well. Now in this tab as well, if you do come in here, you will see your local time when the event starts. So for me that's 2:30 p.m. until what it is right now, 4:30 p.m. Given that I'm in Australia, but for you it will be your local time. So you can check that out and make it a little bit easier for you to plan out if you wanted to watch my semi-final event, my final event on this channel. And again, just to mention, I do have EvonyGuides for a bunch of different topics. It doesn't have Battlefield and server versus server on it yet, but more basic ones it does have on there. And I do also have a website coming soon that you will be able to check out in the description of any given video. That I will put it at the end once it's ready, but it's not ready at the moment. But that will have everything in it. It will have translations and so on. Thank you for watching this Battlefield stream. I will actually change my screen over just to make it easier to see to some of the rewards that are available. So first we have the Jupiter Eagle. So depending on where people finish, they may or may not be able to get this avatar frame, which we'll take a look at that in a moment, who exactly gets this stuff. The march effect, the Egyptian Queen, so that will just change your march and what you see there. You'll get the city here as well, so you can actually change the look of your city depending on where you place. And obviously the egg for the land and dragon, which is going to be a fairly good dragon. People did actually get it last year as well, and people aren't particularly happy about it being the same reward, but the other ones are new as far as I know. We will go back here now. Again, for anyone wondering, the actual rewards as well. So these are total ranking rewards. So they're getting all of that. They're actually getting a militarist, historic general. And as you go down, obviously these are the places here. It depends on that actual range. It's not just 101. And you'll get different rewards there. And there's obviously different rewards for actually the final rewards for a victory and for loss, depending on personal scores. You'll get different rewards. This is kind of just the general stuff for Battlefield, though. It doesn't seem to actually be anything special, or not particularly special at least. And that's the type of thing, what we're seeing in here, what you'll get if you do Battlefield regularly. In your server you'll get these kind of rewards, which are going to help you get various different things from the Battlefield shop. Now, before I end the stream in a moment, if anyone has any questions about Battlefield, about All Stars Battlefield, about the game in general, do put it in the chat now. Otherwise I think I will probably be ending the stream any minute. Alright everyone, thank you for watching my Battlefield stream. Again, on the left of the screen, check out the stream's schedule for additional events, all-star Battlefield events. If you have any questions, leave it down below, or leave it on my other videos. I'll get back to you. I'll just leave you with some music. I'll turn the volume up a little bit, and then I'll be ending the stream shortly, but I'll just leave the music going for now. Again, thank you.
I forget to read, just forget the